So I'm here with Chris. I guess everybody knows Chris. So yeah, Chris.
Oh, wait, you're doing.
Yeah, right. I really have to ask you this question. Give your thoughts about the iPad 2. I really need to ask this question.
You know, I have not officially posted my thoughts on the iPad 2
Yes.
personally. I'm going to get one.
All right.
Absolutely. Just like I'm going to get the new iPhone whenever it's released, whatever
Right.
it is. I'm a huge fan. I was going to get the iPad 2 even
Right.
before they said what was in it. I think it's a next logical step.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing revolutionary at all. It's evolutionary,
Yeah.
and I think Apple is up the ante for everybody else. Namely, not in specs, but specifically price point. I don't care if your Android device has a processor that runs 4 times as fast, or if the screen is 2 times as big. It doesn't matter to me. It's about the experience and certainly the price point. And I don't see any other vendor out there really matching what Apple does. I mean, not just in terms of a sleekness of hardware. It's hard to deny, that even the first gen iPad was anything but pretty lightweight and slick, and they've made it smaller, slimmer. That doesn't interest me. I'm not, a couple, grams lighter. Big deal. I think the price point is ultimately the thing that's going to, drive people one direction or another. Forget the number of apps, right? It's not about the number of apps. Apple could have 5 billion apps. I still wouldn't care. I want good apps. That's all I want. I mean, let me ask you this. Would you rather be able to select from 50,000 apps of questionable quality or 500 really, really, really good apps?
Right.
So I think Apple's marketing message is a little off. It's not just the amount of apps. I think it's the overall experience. And Apple, again, is still the only vendor out there that does control the entire experience. Software, service, hardware, everything, stem to stern. And I think we're going to see in the next coming years, specifically this year when the first WebOS tablet ships, HP is going to give Apple a run for their money, more than Android. I'm not saying Android's bad. I've always said that Android just needs to mature, and I've been right. It does need to mature, and you know what? Every release, people say, well, yeah, it's better now. Well, it's kind of what I was saying.
Yeah,
I'm saying it's going to get better. It's just not there yet, and I'm not the only one to say this. Of course, fandroids will sit there and throw me up and down, but you know what? It's a matter of perspective, and I'm telling you, if they can't meet the price point, forget the specs. If they can't meet the price point that Apple has set forward in, let's say, the baseline iPad, they're sunk. Because unfortunately, whether someone likes it or not, it's the iPad and everybody else.
Right.
So when you're leading in that capacity, competitors have to look at that price point and say, well, yeah, we've got a better piece of hardware. My dad doesn't care. And you know what? There are a lot more of people who are not geeks than there are geeks. And geeks can care about hardware, fine. You want the fastest, greatest, awesome, perfect. Consumers just want a good experience. And at the end of the day, I think the biggest challenger to the iPad will be this year, WebOS. The closest competitor we might see from at least Android side is if Google really creates their own tablet experience. Google needs to create their own hardware to create the best Android experience. Period. End of story. Just like I've argued for years that Microsoft should have created its own computer. They couldn't do that because they'd piss off all the OEMs.
Right.
But if Microsoft really wanted to create a good Windows experience, that's exactly what they would have done. So and that's exactly what they should have done. But they won't because it's not their model.
Right. So as far as tablets go, we have now the Motorola Xoom. Right, with Android 3.0 Honeycomb running it.
Zoom. Sure.
You think the Xoom will be overpriced?
Yeah.
Not relevant
and
on the
market.
market.
Look at that. What's the 4G LTE upgrade? You have to actually mail in the
device.
device.
Yeah, right. Yes. Yeah.
Who made this decision? Now I understand it's important to ship before the iPad.
Right.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Come on, dude. I mean, I would have said that if Apple would have. Well, imagine if Apple would have done the same thing. I would have been just as going WTF.
Yeah, right.
Stupid. I mean, stupid.
Yeah, right.
I don't care if you're, a Zoom fanboy or fangirl. It's just a stupid thing. Send in your device that you bought and you paid a premium for. I mean, what? They've already dropped it in price already since the announcement of the iPad 2?
I don't know. I guess
it was inevitable.
Yeah, right.
Duh.
Yeah.
I mean,
So the argument.
Can't meet it.
So the argument was the higher price was actually the 4G upgradability.
Yeah.
But it's
either way. It's already not a good experience. That shows you where their head's at. That's the problem. You could argue hardware specs all day long. It's irrelevant. Specs are irrelevant. They're nice to have, but they're gimmicks. Ultimately, the consumer wants an experience. Period. End of story.
Okay. Well, thank you very much,
No
Chris.
problem.